The deep space research vessel Odyssey drifted silently through the Kuiper Belt, its sensors probing the darkness for any sign of unusual quantum fluctuations. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her station, dark eyes fixed on the readings that scrolled endlessly across her holographic display. The ship had been tracking these mysterious energy signatures for weeks, each one vanishing just as they got close. Another signature, same pattern, Sarah announced, her fingers dancing across the controls. Bearing 047, Mark 23. Captain Michael Rodriguez nodded, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the bridge displays. Take us in, nice and slow. Let's see if we can get close enough for a proper reading this time. The Odyssey's engines hummed to life, the massive vessel changing course with surprising grace for something its size. As they approached the coordinates, the energy signature remained stable, a first in their investigation. That's odd, Sarah muttered, double-checking her readings. The signature isn't dissipating like the others, it's growing stronger. Suddenly, space itself seemed to ripple before them. A massive vessel materialized, its hull composed of what appeared to be pure energy, shifting and flowing like liquid light. It dwarfed the Odyssey, making their state-of-the-art research vessel look like a toy in comparison. Multiple energy spikes. Lieutenant James Wong called from Tactical. They're trying to interface with our systems. But nothing happened. The crew waited tensely, but their systems continued functioning normally. A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English, but with an otherworldly harmonic quality that made it sound like a choir rather than a single speaker. Fascinating. Your technology. It resists our connection. How is this possible? Rodriguez exchanged glances with his crew before responding. This is Captain Michael Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Odyssey. We mean you no harm. Who are you? We are the collective of advanced sciences, what you might call researchers, like yourselves. We have been studying your species from afar, but your natural quantum dampening field makes direct observation challenging. Sarah's eyes widened as understanding dawned. The disappearing energy signatures, they were your probe attempts. Correct. Your species possesses a unique ability we have never encountered. Your very presence disrupts quantum-based technologies, which comprise most advanced systems in the known galaxy. We believed it impossible for you to achieve space travel without quantum computing, yet here you are. Rodriguez smiled. We managed with good old-fashioned silicon and determination. Though I have to admit, this is the first we're hearing about any quantum dampening ability. Perhaps we could assist each other, the harmonic voice suggested. We have much to learn from your species' unique properties, and we possess knowledge that could greatly benefit humanity. Before Rodriguez could respond, new alarms blared. Another vessel had appeared, this one dark and predatory in design, its hull absorbing light rather than emitting it. Energy weapon charging, Wong reported. The dark vessel fired, but instead of striking the Odyssey, its beam targeted the energy-based ship. The attack seemed to cause the alien vessel's structure to destabilize, its light flickering dangerously. Please, the harmonic voice now carried an edge of desperation. The resonance, they hunt us for our knowledge. Your quantum dampening field, it could protect us. Rodriguez didn't hesitate. Move us between them, he ordered. Full power to engines. The Odyssey surged forward, positioning itself between the wounded research vessel and its attacker. The dark ship fired again, but something unexpected happened. As the energy weapon's beam passed through the space around the Odyssey, it seemed to weaken, becoming unfocused and dissipating before it could reach its target. It's working, Sarah exclaimed. Our dampening field is disrupting their weapons. The dark vessel, apparently realizing its attacks were ineffective, vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind a profound silence. Thank you, the harmonic voice said softly. You have saved not only our vessel but centuries of invaluable research. The resonance would have absorbed our knowledge, our very consciousness, into their collective. The resonance? Rodriguez asked. A grave threat to all sentient life. They seek to forcibly evolve all species into energy-based forms they can control. Your natural immunity to quantum manipulation, it makes you the first species we've encountered that could truly resist them. Sarah stepped forward. Captain, if what they're saying is true, humanity might be the galaxy's best defense against these resonance beings. Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully. Well, he said with a slight smile, I suppose this makes for one hell of a first contact report. The energy being's vessel pulsed with what seemed like amusement. Captain Rodriguez, I believe this marks the beginning of a most interesting alliance. Your species' unique abilities, combined with our advanced knowledge, perhaps together we can finally end the resonance threat. As the two vessels began their first official exchange of information, none of them could know that this chance encounter would soon reshape the fate of the galaxy. Humanity, long thinking itself a latecomer to the cosmic stage, was about to discover that their perceived technological limitations were actually their greatest strength. 3 months after the first contact incident, Earth's orbital space had transformed. The massive research station, Genesis, hung in geosynchronous orbit, its crystalline structures refracting sunlight in breathtaking patterns. Inside, humans worked alongside members of the Collective of Advanced Sciences, their differences creating unexpected synergies. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the main laboratory, watching as her team conducted another series of tests on the quantum dampening field that all humans naturally generated. The lab's advanced sensors, provided by the Collective, displayed the effect as waves of subtle distortion emanating from each human present. The field appears to strengthen when humans work together, observe Area, a being of pure energy whose form sparkled like diamond dust in sunlight. It's as if your natural abilities amplify each other. Sarah nodded, making notes on her tablet. We're seeing a logarithmic increase in field strength when multiple humans are in close proximity. It might explain why the resonance never attempted direct contact with Earth. Our cities would have been like black holes to their quantum sensors. The station's alert system suddenly pulsed with soft blue light. Dr. Chen, Captain Rodriguez requests your presence in the command center, the AI announced. In the command center, Rodriguez stood before a holographic display showing multiple energy signatures approaching the edges of the solar system. Representatives from the Collective hovered nearby, their energy forms flickering with concern. The resonance are testing our defenses, Rodriguez explained as Sarah entered. They're sending probe ships to different points around the system, looking for weaknesses. They're adapting faster than anticipated, one of the Collective beings noted, its voice carrying harmonics of worry. Our models suggested we would have more time before they attempted direct confrontation. Sarah studied the display, noting the pattern of the approaching vessels. They're being careful to stay just outside the range of our dampening field network. The defense network had been one of the first joint projects between humanity and the Collective, a series of satellites that amplified the human quantum dampening effect, creating a protective bubble around Earth and its colonies. It was primitive by Collective standards, but that was precisely what made it effective against the resonance. We've detected unusual energy patterns from their probe ships, another Collective being reported. They appear to be attempting to modify their quantum signatures, perhaps hoping to find a frequency our dampening field can't affect. Rodriguez's expression hardened. They're not just testing our defenses. They're trying to develop countermeasures. How long before they might succeed? Unknown, Area responded, her form pulsing with calculations. The mathematics involved are complex. The human dampening field operates on principles we still don't fully understand. Then we need to understand it better, and fast, Sarah said, her mind already racing with possibilities. Captain, I have an idea, but it's a bit unorthodox. Those tend to be our best ideas lately, Rodriguez replied with a slight smile. What are you thinking? We've been trying to analyze our dampening field using the Collective's quantum-based sensors, but what if that's the wrong approach? What if we used our own primitive technology instead? Something the resonance would never think to try. The collective beings rippled with interest. "Explain," Area prompted. "Our quantum field disrupts advanced technology, but our old-school sensors, the ones based on classical physics, work just fine. What if we mapped the field using those? We might see patterns that quantum sensors miss entirely." Rodriguez nodded slowly. "Like trying to observe a cloud of smoke. Sometimes you see the shape better from a distance than from inside it." "Precisely," Sarah agreed. "And if we understand how our field really works, we might be able to enhance it, maybe even learn to control it actively rather than just passively projecting it." The command center erupted in activity as human and collective scientists began coordinating the new research direction. As they worked, more resonance probe ships appeared at the edges of the system, their presence a constant reminder of the threat they faced. "There's something else," Rodriguez said quietly to Sarah as the others focused on their tasks. The collective shared some disturbing intelligence. "The resonance aren't just studying our defenses, they're gathering forces. Every ship we detect is transmitting massive amounts of data back to their fleet. They're preparing for a major assault," Sarah realized. "Yes, and when they come, they'll come with everything they have. We need to be ready." Sarah looked out the command center's window at Earth below, its blue-white surface peaceful from this distance. Somewhere out there in the darkness, an enemy unlike anything humanity had ever faced was preparing to attack. But as she watched humans and collective beings working together, combining technologies and approaches that should have been incompatible, she felt a surge of hope. "The resonance thinks our reliance on classical physics makes us primitive," she said, "but they're about to learn that sometimes the old ways are the best ways." Rodriguez smiled grimly. "They want to forcibly evolve all life into energy forms they can control. Instead, they're going to discover that evolution took humanity down a very different path, one that might just save the galaxy." As if in response to his words, another alert sounded. More resonance ships had appeared, their energy signatures stronger than before. The testing of Earth's defenses was intensifying. The race was on to understand and enhance humanity's unique gift before the enemy learned to counter it. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the results on her screen, double-checking the numbers for the 5th time. Around her, the Genesis station's main laboratory hummed with activity as human and collective scientists worked together, but she barely noticed. What she was seeing couldn't be right, except that it explained everything. "Captain Rodriguez," she called over the comm. "You need to see this. Now." Minutes later, Rodriguez stood with Sarah and Area, examining the complex data displays. Traditional electromagnetic sensors, paired with quantum monitoring equipment, had revealed something extraordinary about human biology. "It's our magnetic field," Sarah explained, highlighting a particular set of readings. "Not Earth's, though that played a role in our evolution, but the one generated by our own bodies. Every living human produces a unique electromagnetic signature that creates quantum interference patterns. Like noise-canceling headphones, but for quantum effects," Rodriguez suggested. "Exactly. Our bodies learn to generate these fields as a defense mechanism against cosmic radiation during our evolution. It's why we can use quantum-based technology selectively. Our bodies automatically adjust the field to allow beneficial quantum effects while blocking harmful ones." Area's energy form pulsed with excitement. "This explains why the resonance's attempts to forcibly evolve humans have failed. Your bodies actively resist quantum manipulation at a cellular level." "More than that," Sarah continued, bringing up new diagrams. "When humans work together in close proximity, our fields synchronize and amplify each other. It's multiplicative, not additive. 1,000 humans working together don't just create a field 1,000 times stronger. It's more like 1,000,000 times stronger." Rodriguez whistled softly. "No wonder the resonance is concerned. Every human city is essentially a quantum-dampening superweapon. And we didn't even know it." "The implications are extraordinary," Area observed. "With this understanding, we could potentially design technology to enhance and direct these natural fields. Create focus dampening beams, protective shields. Weapons, Rodriguez added grimly. Let's not pretend that's not on the table. The Resonance isn't going to give up just because we understand our abilities better. Sarah nodded, bringing up another display. Already working on it. Look at this. We've modified some of our old electromagnetic pulse weapons to synchronize with human field frequencies. Initial tests show they can disrupt quantum-based technology far more effectively than traditional EMP. How long until we can deploy? The prototypes are ready now. We can begin mass production immediately using the collective's manufacturing facilities. The real challenge will be training people to use them effectively. These weapons need human operators. Their natural fields are what makes them work. Then we'd better start training programs immediately, Rodriguez said, because I don't think we have much time left. As if to emphasize his point, the station's alerts began blaring. On the main display, dozens of new energy signatures appeared at the edge of the solar system. Unlike the previous probe ships, these were massive, capital ships of the Resonance fleet. They're earlier than we projected, Aria noted, her form flickering with concern. Our models suggested we had at least another month before they could gather sufficient forces. They must have detected our weapons testing, Sarah said. They know we've made a breakthrough. They're not going to give us time to prepare. Rodriguez was already moving. Sound general quarters. Begin evacuation of all non-essential personnel from the station. Sarah, how many of those prototype weapons can we deploy right now? 20, maybe 30. Not nearly enough for a full-scale battle. It'll have to do. Aria, we need the collected ships to coordinate with our fleet. Sarah, get those weapons distributed to our best crews and brief them quickly. We need every advantage we can get. As the station erupted into organized chaos, Sarah looked out at the approaching energy signatures. The resonant ships were still hours away, but she could almost feel their malevolent presence. They represented everything humanity had feared about advanced alien civilizations: cold, calculating beings that saw other species as resources to be harvested and controlled. But humanity had evolved in harsh conditions, developed under the constant bombardment of radiation and magnetic fields that would have killed most species. Those same conditions had forced them to become something unique in the galaxy, beings that could stand against the quantum tide that the Resonance used to dominate others. They think we're primitive, Sarah muttered, watching as the first human crews began training with the new weapons. They're about to learn that evolution doesn't always mean becoming pure energy. Sometimes it means becoming something stronger. The station's weapons began powering up, their systems integrating with the natural fields of their human operators. In space, Earth's defense fleet moved into position, their ships now equipped with modified sensors that could track resonance vessels using classical physics rather than quantum detection. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin, and it would be fought not with pure technological advancement, but with the perfect fusion of human biology and scientific innovation. The Resonance was about to face something they had never encountered before, an enemy they couldn't predict or control, because that enemy operated on principles as old as life itself. The Resonance fleet emerged from quantum space like a tide of living darkness, their ships moving with perfect coordination that made them seem like a single organism. Hundreds of vessels, each crackling with energy that defied conventional physics, arranged themselves in attack formation at the edge of Earth's defense perimeter. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned ESS Defender, Earth's first hybrid warship combining human and collective technology. Around him, crew members worked at stations that merged traditional controls with quantum interfaces, their natural dampening fields allowing them to use both technologies simultaneously. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Lieutenant Wam reported from Tactical. They're charging weapons across the fleet. All ships, maintain position, Rodriguez ordered across the fleet channel. Remember your training. Let them make the first move. The human fleet had arranged itself in a seemingly scattered formation, a strategy that had confused their collective allies until Sarah had explained the logic. Quantum technology works best with perfect symmetry, she had told them. Our apparent chaos will disrupt their targeting algorithms. As if proving her point, the first wave of resonance energy weapons fired, their beams of pure quantum force seeking targets among the human ships. But the scattered formation, combined with the natural dampening fields of the crews, caused most of the attacks to dissipate harmlessly. Now, Rodriguez ordered, all ships implement Protocol Faraday. Across the human fleet, crews activated their new hybrid weapons. The devices looked deceptively simple, modified electromagnetic pulse generators synchronized to the unique frequencies of human quantum dampening fields. But their effect was devastating. Waves of concentrated electromagnetic energy, amplified by the combined fields of thousands of human crew members, swept through space. Where they touched resonant ships, the quantum-based vessels experienced cascade failures in their energy matrices, direct hits on multiple targets, Wong reported, excitement creeping into his professional tone. Their formations are breaking up. But the resonance wasn't defeated so easily. Their ships began to adapt, shifting their quantum frequencies in patterns that seemed random but revealed a deeper strategy. They're probing for weaknesses. Sarah's voice came over the comm from Genesis Station. Each attack is testing a different quantum frequency, looking for one our dampening fields can't affect. Can they find one? Rodriguez asked, watching as another wave of resonant ships moved forward. Theoretically, no. Our fields automatically adjust to counter any quantum interference. But they're not just attacking our ships anymore. Look at their energy patterns. The main display showed the resonance fleet's energy emissions shifting, forming complex geometric patterns that seemed to twist in impossible ways. They're trying to create a resonance cascade, Aria's harmonic voice added urgently. If they succeed, they could overwhelm individual dampening fields through sheer quantum force. Rodriguez watched as the enemy's strategy unfolded. The resonant ships were arranging themselves into a massive three-dimensional lattice, each vessel adding its energy to a growing quantum buildup that threatened to overwhelm Earth's defenses through brute force. "Sarah," he called, "please tell me you have a counter for this." "Working on it," she replied, her voice tense with concentration. "Their lattice formation, it's like a quantum amplifier. But if we could disrupt even a small part of it, the whole thing would collapse," Rodriguez finished. "Like pulling one card from a house of cards. But how do we get close enough? Our ships can't penetrate that energy field." There was a moment of silence on the channel before Sarah spoke again, her voice carrying the tone of someone who had just realized something both brilliant and terrifying. "We don't need to get close," she said. "We need to go big. Really big. Captain, I need you to order every ship in the fleet to fall back to Earth orbit. Now." Rodriguez hesitated for just a moment before trusting his friend's judgment. "All ships, fall back to Earth orbit. Maximum speed." As the human fleet retreated, the resonance lattice continued to grow, its energy readings reaching levels that made the sensors struggle to measure them. But Sarah wasn't watching the enemy fleet. Her attention was focused on Earth below, and the billions of humans whose combined dampening fields were about to become the greatest weapon in galactic history. "This is Dr. Sarah Chin broadcasting on all frequencies." Sarah's voice echoed across every communication channel on Earth. "We need everyone's help. In the next few minutes, I need every human being to focus on a single thought: the desire to protect, to resist, to remain free. Your thoughts, your emotions, they strengthen the field we naturally generate. Together, we can create something powerful enough to stop the resonance." Around the world, people looked up at the sky where the enormous quantum lattice of the resonance fleet was now visible to the naked eye, a dark geometric pattern blotting out the stars. In homes, schools, offices, and streets, billions of humans focused their thoughts as one. On the Genesis Station sensors, Sarah watched in amazement as Earth began to glow with quantum dampening energy. The natural fields generated by humanity were synchronizing, amplifying each other exponentially just as her research had predicted. But the scale was beyond anything they had tested. "The combined field strength is off the charts," she reported, her voice tight with excitement. "Captain, are you seeing this?" From the bridge of the Defender, Rodriguez watched as a wave of invisible force expanded from Earth's surface. Unlike the targeted dampening fields they had been using, this was raw and natural, the combined protective instinct of an entire species manifesting as a quantum phenomenon. "All ships, brace for impact," he ordered as the wave approached the human fleet. But when it passed through their vessels, they felt nothing. The field recognized them as human, as part of the collective consciousness that had created it. The resonance fleet wasn't so fortunate. When the wave hit their quantum lattice, the effect was spectacular. The perfectly arranged pattern of ships began to break apart as their quantum-based systems failed. Ships that had existed partially in energy form were forced fully into normal space, their advanced technology rendered useless by the overwhelming dampening field. "Their quantum matrix is collapsing," Aria reported, her energy form pulsing with excitement. "The lattice formation is destabilizing." The resonant ships tried to adapt, to shift their quantum frequencies as they had before, but the human dampening field was too vast, too varied to counter. It wasn't a single frequency they could avoid. It was billions of individual fields working in concert, each slightly different, creating a spectrum of quantum interference that nothing could escape. "They're trying to retreat," Wang announced. "Multiple ships attempting quantum jumps, but they can't establish stable quantum fields." The resonance fleet, for the first time in their history, was trapped. Their quantum-based technology, the source of their power and their means of travel, was useless within Earth's dampening field. Ships began to drift, their energy cores shutting down to prevent catastrophic overload. That's when the second phase of Sarah's plan kicked in. The human fleet, using their conventional engines, moved to surround the powerless resonance vessels. Their hybrid weapons, now powered by the massive dampening field emanating from Earth, fired precise electromagnetic pulses that permanently disabled the quantum systems of ship after ship. "This is Captain Rodriguez to the resonance fleet." Rodriguez broadcast on all frequencies. "Your ships are disabled. Your quantum technology is offline. You have two choices: surrender and face justice from the Galactic Council, or remain here, trapped within our dampening field indefinitely. Choose wisely." For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then, one by one, the resonance ships began transmitting surrender signals using primitive radio waves, the only communication method still available to them. In the Genesis Station's laboratory, Sarah sat down heavily, the adrenaline of the past few hours finally wearing off. Aria's energy form hovered nearby, radiating what felt like a mix of awe and satisfaction. "Do you understand what you've accomplished today?" the collective being asked softly. "You've not only defeated the greatest threat our galaxy has ever faced, you've completely changed our understanding of evolution and progress." Sarah looked up curiously. "How so?" The resonance believed that ascending to pure energy was the pinnacle of evolution. That moving beyond physical form was the only path forward. But humanity, you evolved in a completely different direction. You developed natural defenses against quantum manipulation, turned your supposed technological limitations into strengths. You proved that there are many paths to advancement, and that sometimes the old ways, the physical ways, are just as valid as the new. On Earth below, people were already celebrating, though most didn't fully understand what they had accomplished. They only knew that humanity had faced its first major galactic threat and emerged victorious, not through overwhelming technology or superior numbers, but through the unique qualities that made them human. "What happens now?" Sarah asked, watching as human ships began the process of corralling the surrendered resonance fleet. "Now," Rodriguez said, entering the laboratory with a tired but satisfied smile, "we help build a better galaxy. The collective is already talking about establishing a permanent alliance with Earth. They want to study our primitive technology, learn how we've achieved things their quantum science said were impossible. And there are other species out there, ones who've been living under resonance domination for centuries. They'll need help rebuilding. Sarah nodded, turning to look out at Earth once more. The planet glowed with a subtle energy that their sensors could now detect. The combined quantum-dampening field of billions of humans, a protective shield that would ensure their species' safety for generations to come. Not bad for a bunch of primitives, she said with a smile. Not primitive, Area corrected. Different. And in the end, that difference saved us all. As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, casting golden light across the aftermath of the battle, humanity stood on the brink of a new era. They had proven that progress doesn't always mean abandoning the old ways, that physical form doesn't equal limitation, and that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in transcending your nature, but in embracing it fully. The age of quantum supremacy was over. The age of balance, of harmony between the physical and quantum realms, was about to begin. And humanity, with their unique ability to bridge both worlds, would help lead the way.